Hi everyone, this is Sarah Hussein from Marketing Hacks on a Dime, and we are here with author and former AM host Ryan Freeman. Hi Ryan, thank you for joining us on our first podcast.
Not a problem, this is exciting.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background in radio?
Okay, well, I used to work over at KKIM and no, not KLYT. Cars, KRS. I also worked at KLYT, but that was an internship. Anyways, I did sales, I ran the board, I had a AM talk show on Saturday nights called Speakeasy. It was all out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it was a ton of fun. It was a challenge, and we even had some threats.
Oh my gosh, what kind of threats?
We got threatened by the KKK. We got picked up by Anonymous for an anti-Scientology episode.
Oh, why did the KKK want to pick you up?
I don't know. They left threatening letters on our windows of our studio, and so we just mentioned it, laughed about it, and just kept going on.
I guess that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Now, Ryan, when we had talked before, you had mentioned that there was a marketing and sales side to radio. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the behind the scenes of that?
Well, here's the thing. I love radio. I'm really not a big fan of the business. I love reaching out to fans. When you keep it simple, when it's not about a dollar line, when it's about reaching people with a good product. When I first started at KKIM, my old boss, Dewey Modi, said the first thing I want you to do, first day, is listen to the radio. And just take notes and think and pay attention to what we're playing. Because to be able to sell this, to be able to talk about it confidently, and also to be a part of it, you need to know what you're playing. And not just the playlist or, the series of talks you have scheduled or whatever, but know your product. Know what you have. Know who it's going to. Know why it's going to them. It's not just something to be able to target listeners based on what they like. This is something that goes into people's homes. Something that goes into people's cars on the way to work. It's on in offices. It's on in mechanics places. It's on in the background in churches. It's all over the place. It's invasive. And that's a really cool thing that only radio does. And so it's like you're standing next to somebody, like we're sitting down right now, and you're saying, hey, listen to this. Or hey, let's talk about this. And you're a part of somebody's everyday life. And that's an amazing opportunity and responsibility.
So what was one of the biggest things you learned from that experience?
Well, I think it really comes down to that there are people who love good radio, who love what you're doing, and there are people who are opportunistic. And I think when you really get something good, when you really get something meaningful and worthwhile, it's because you have a lot of people coming together because they all love the same thing. They're there, to make some profit for their business, to get the word out about whatever they're doing, to play a song or to reach people with a certain message. But what it really comes down to is people believe in what they're doing. They love the station, they love what you're doing, and they believe in it, and they'll be there, rain or shine.
What was one of the most unique experience you had with doing radio marketing and sales?
There was a couple of things, but I think one of the biggest was New Mexico is a really cool state. I was really glad I was able to live there for a little while, and every year they have this pilgrimage. They still do pilgrimages there. And south of Albuquerque, there is this hill, the Tomas Hill. It's every fall. It's probably getting ready to go in a month or two again. But people walk to this hill, and apparently it's a blessing or you get it right. But what's really cool is that my second radio station, Cars, KRS, in Belen, is the same town this hill is in. That the Spaniards found and some miracle happened. But so I'm driving down there to cover it, and I've never seen this before because I'm originally from Oregon. There's people on the roadsides handing out bottles of water. There's people in by the hundreds, trucking down the streets in the desert, and in the cars that drive by, in the businesses with the shops open because it's hot, there is still my radio station's on. Like, I am the background music to this like cultural event that's happening
Throughout the whole street that they're
yeah, like, and it's incredible, it's amazing, yeah, like when you go into radio, and you go into marketing and you go into sales, they're like, yeah, we get the word out. You get all these like kitschy, like sales pitchy sort of things. All that is mumbo jumbo. All that's hogwash. You are part of someone's life, so what you do matters. Whether it's making a good sale, whether it's making a good ad, like, leave your mark on it. Do a good job because you're a part of someone's life.
What advice do you have to people who want to do a good pitch for the sales or something unique with the sales side of radio?
Don't be afraid to do something creative and something screwy. I was working for an AM talk station, and it was just back when social media was kind of on the rise. I know I'm a little older, I admit. They didn't have a Facebook page yet. And so I made them a Facebook page, right? And not a big deal. People can do that in like 20 seconds nowadays. But back then, it was a big deal. And so my boss asked me to make an ad for that we have a Facebook page. So I was like, okay, how can I have fun with this? Like, I was like, yeah, I could say, we have a Facebook page, go like us. But that's boring. Everybody does that. So I was thinking about it, and my wife's a big Star Trek fan. So I did Facebook, the final frontier. These are the posts of KKIM radio, and et cetera, et cetera. But like, people loved it. Like, we got like 100 likes a month. Like, and then they just grew and grew and grew from there. Have fun with what you're doing, and also like work with the person. Like, yeah, you got a bottom line. Yeah, you got quotas to hit, but go meet the person. Go sit down, see what they do. Like, see what the kind of people that they help. See what kind of person they are, and then tailor an ad to them. Because that's what, like, when I made ads, I wanted to make an ad that the person I made an ad for, like, waits for, not just because it's their ad, but because they like it. Like,
right.
Like, you have a favorite commercial on TV, and you like, when it comes on, you're like, yes, that's great.
Yeah, you want it to stick with them.
Yeah, but it sticks with you not so much because of marketing gimmicks or mumbo jumbo, but because the person loves it. Like, it's a good ad. They're going to remember it and, like, wait for it to come on.
Yeah, it just touches you right there in your heart.
Yeah.
When you were doing all this, what were some of the best budget-friendly tools that you used to create these magical, these pieces that really engage your audience?
Sure. Well, it's going to I'll work from the lowest rung and I'll go up. The number one tool you can get is a pair of ears.
I like that. I like that.
It's a pair of ears.
So
true. Find people that are listening. Like, when my talk show, we talked about taboo issues in the Western Church, like stuff that people don't want to talk about. So one day after a show, we went out to this place we usually go to, and my sister's friend came, and this is a Christian talk station, right? So Joe is an atheist, my sister's friend. And I said, hey, Joe, because he knows we do our show, and he's like, yeah, and I said, hey. What should we do for next week? Like, I want to hear what have you always wanted to tell Christians or the church?
What did he say?
And he's like, well, he thought about it, but it's like, okay, silence is good. Like, let him think. He said, honestly, like, coming from my perspective, and I'm not really convinced that I might not even like have a soul. The honesty is priceless. He said, I'm not really convinced that I may or may not even have a soul, so, like, don't just come down on me about me going to hell because I don't believe whatever you believe. Like, speak my language.
Yeah.
You have to speak people's language, and I think that was one of the best shows we ever had the next Saturday, because we had something real. It wasn't something that was marketed. It wasn't something that was pulled in a mall or whatever. But it was like, this listener, this person with a life that has real concerns, real issues, real wonders. Like, this is what he wants to know. This is what he wants to say. Going up from there, I know off mic we had talked a bit about how there's tons of free recording stuff out there. Like, say you're in an office that doesn't always give you what you feel like you need. Find workarounds. Be creative. Like, I found this little recording mic and a stand, and that ended up being like my go-to thing to cover political events because we covered stuff in Santa Fe. And so I just pop it out and hit record. I felt like a reporter, like I was pressed on the scene because I could and yeah, there are things that have better quality, but you know what? It's better to have something and go with that natural sound, that you're really there,
right,
than not, because people like that. Like, people like theater of the mind. They like to know that like they're sucked in to this event that's happening. Like, full immersion is a great thing. So the more ways you can do it, the better. And I think the other thing that really helps with sales and marketing is network with people, because they're not only they're gonna give you leads, but they're gonna help you get a better perspective on what your market's like. Santa Fe is a hard market to get into, for example, because the way people are there, you have to live there. Like, you have to live there to be in the know of what's going on, and if you're not, they know. They don't treat you the same. It's really weird. They're great, great people. I love Santa Fans. My brother-in-law is a Santa fan. But you have to be there to be a part of life. And so if you're going into your station, look around at the shops around you. Look around at the business around you. Shop there. Do business there. So the next time you go cold calling, you're not just trundling in with, a sales pitch. Like, you're going in there because, hey, Frank. He's your mechanic. Hey, Jim, he does coffee. Like, hey, blah, blah. Like, because it's part of your life. I feel like if you're able to do an extension of your life, people will have a real connection with you.
And you were able to reach out to these people and ask them if they wanted to be on your AM show?
Yeah, and also do ads. Also do sales. Also, if we love doing live remotes. So, like, that's a great, like, one time, there's like a lawn ornament place. It was around Christmas time. They had Christmas trees. They're like, hey, we're doing the Christmas tree thing. Is there a way we could do like a remote or something? I was like, yeah, that's great. So we rolled up in the radio van and got out, and we ended up giving a family who had just moved to the U.S. who had never celebrated Christmas before. We got to give them a Christmas tree.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so
and they were listeners after that for every day of their life.
Oh my gosh.
Like, that's what I'm talking about. It's not just, your lucky winner number 258,
Right.
Like,
you did something that really reached them on a whole nother level that ads and, pitches can't do all the time.
And they simply can't do. They're not designed to do that.
Is there any other advice that you can give to us before we wrap up?
Sure. Do what you really love to do. Like, I love radio because there's a moment where people are listening, and you'll get it every now and again on radio, podcasts, whatever, where you've got somebody hooked. You're talking about something that's meaningful, that matters to somebody real, Chase after that. My first internship at KLYT, if it wasn't for a DJ there named Ramsey, I probably wouldn't have been able to keep going into radio. And I was interning, and, he started giving me leads on whenever they were doing something, and like for concerts. And one day he pulled me into the studio. He was like, hey, check us out. And he put up this Polaroid of this girl. I was like, okay, who's that? And it's like, this is the listener. I don't remember her name now. But I met her at the last concert we did. She's a listener. When I'm on, she's listening. I keep up this picture. And so when I'm talking, I'm not talking to a mic. I'm not talking to a computer screen or glass or, whatever. I'm talking to her. Like, when you're making ads, when you are thinking about who to reach out to next, this person is listening.
So that you actually authentically are talking to the listener.
Yeah, you're talking to someone.
Ryan, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you all so much for joining us on Marketing Hacks on a Dime, your place for the best insights on free to low-costing marketing tools.